Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Temple Within Radio and Media Network, and to a very special day today. Today is the release date, 11/11/2018, of Earth's Ascension. Oh my goodness. Nibiru and the Spirit Realm. So this morning I'd like to introduce some of you, maybe for the first time, to Carl and Ortrun Franklin. Good morning, Carl and Ortrun.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
The chat room is now open, everybody. If you are there in Facebook on the Earth's Ascension page, you can join us from there. And also, of course, on Spreaker.com. So if you're in the house, please do join us in the chat room, because it's a great subject this morning that we're going to be talking about with Carl and Ortrun, and it's crystal and indigo children. How long have you two been studying that subject?
Oh, I would say at least 10 years.
Wow.
Longer than that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because I've been Santa 15 years, and I was aware of them before. It's probably closer to 20 years, actually.
That's amazing. And one of the things that I often get asked is, what is an indigo child? Is it possible for somebody in their 40s or 50s or maybe even 60 to be considered an indigo child?
Yes.
Absolutely. This is my personal opinion, but I think if we go back through our recorded history, to me about 1% of the human population has carried indigo energy, and these are most of the people that are in the history books. They're the warriors. They're the rulers. They're the religious and spiritual leaders. They're the artists and the scientists. They're the ones that have helped society to advance technologically, theologically, and artistically. So what has increased is around the mid-1930s, the percentages began to increase from 1%, and today it's at about 65%.
How would somebody know, Carl and Ortrun, if they are what you might, or what the world may consider an indigo person in this day and age?
Okay, first and foremost, I just want to clear up something. He said that 65% are indigo, but
Yeah.
But you're actually talking about they're both crystal and indigo.
Yeah, right.
So, but the indigos are the ones that came first because of the harshness of the world. Because they're stronger and they had more this attitude of being that warrior, being the one that being more, assertive and the leadership qualities. They're the ones that were able to come in first because of the energies upon the planet. It was back in the 30s, and even before that probably also, that the crystal children also were trying to come in, but they wouldn't stay here very long because the environment of the planet was still too harsh. They couldn't handle it because they are much more gentle in nature. What we have found is that the indigos, if they were straight indigo, they're the warriors. They're the ones that break down the systems to bring in the new. And then the crystal children are the ones that then bring in that spiritual aspect to this new way of living.
I love that. And, now that you're bringing that up, it occurred to me to talk about for a moment why there are chapters included in the book, Earth's Ascension, Nibiru, and the Spirit Realm, dealing with crystal and indigo children. Clearly, you must feel that the indigos, as those that kind of clear the way, old systems going away, new systems coming in, new systems of being and feeling and thinking, etc., must be part of the ascension process here on the earth plane.
It's a key part. In my experience, and we're talking about 25,000 kids and an additional 3,000 adults, so it's a fairly good sampling. They have advanced DNA, and they did not evolve here on the earth. They have their DNA, they have more than the normal 20 active codons, which are in DNA. They're the rungs on the ladder that connect it to the two twisted lines. And they're coming in with a background, and I'm going to call it a subconscious memory of where they came from. And my experience is that about 30% of these children have come from the angelic realm. Ortrun is from the angelic realm. And she has memory of being on that realm prior to taking on human form. And another 30% have come from higher dimensions of space. And another 30% have come from the spirit realm. And I have memory of being a 10th dimensional Elohim, working with a team and creating a new species, okay? And I remember having the desire. This species has so much potential and is going to be functioning at a much lower dimension. I want to experience it, okay? Mm-hmm. And so and then the 10%, they've come from, my God, all over creation. Mm-hmm. They've come from other universes. They've come from inner Earth. They've come from other creations, from the second creation and from the first creation, and fascinating individuals. And some of them come from a place that is so different that they've never really been able to fully adjust to being here, all right? So anyway, all light workers have crystal and indigo energy. All light workers have this advanced DNA, and all light workers did not evolve here. I shouldn't say all, because I've met a couple that have evolved from the earth that are a beautiful light workers too. And we're here to help the human population to become like us. Mm-hmm. By setting the example and so on.
There are a few people that you mention in the book. A couple of them are favorites of mine. One of them, of course, Nikola Tesla, who I am a huge fan of. And you also talk about Isaac Newton and Leonardo da Vinci. And when I was reading that portion, it really did occur to me that whether we're somebody as famous as Leonardo or Nikola, the fact is that oftentimes we can perhaps understand that maybe we're indigo or crystal or some other visionary species, because perhaps we aren't always accepted in our time or challenged in our time.
I have yet to talk with a person who has this advanced DNA, who came from elsewhere, who did not feel that they were different, that very few people, if any, fully understood them.
And what does somebody do about that, Ortrun? You work in healing, you work in rebalancing. How does somebody who knows that they're different, perhaps they're challenged, or they challenge the balance of others, how do they walk in their life knowing that it's okay to be a challenge to the balance of society as it currently is, and to remain okay within themselves?
Well, certainly it's something that they have to focus on and learn that they are able to do that. I think one of the things that has occurred is that these individuals, and I'm sure that many out here that are listening can identify with that, is that nobody really, like as you said, understood them, and they didn't accept them, so they kept trying to change them and make them mold them into something that they really weren't. So there has to be a point where they are basically ready to move into a different paradigm, and once they choose to go into that paradigm of, I'm okay, and that's all a process. We have to work at these things. Then they can start expressing themselves for who they truly are. So it's really their ascension path, in essence, because they are here not only to experience the difficulty of pushing against, society and so on, because they don't quite fit in, but yet it's also so that they can learn to understand society and allow them to be where they are at, and then have the confidence within themselves to move into it is that they are. One of the things that, I think it was a month or so ago, I really, because of my whole situation right now was going through this healing process myself, is the recognition that whatever it is that you are going through is actually one of the many gifts that you're here to give to the planet. Mm-hmm. Because if you can go through something which is a negative force towards you, to go through it and try with the attitude of, I want to understand this, I'm going to focus on getting beyond this so that I can have a neutral perspective on it, that then you are changing vibratory frequencies within yourself and, of course, also upon the planet. And it's changing yourself, learning and becoming who you truly are, and then also giving that gift to the planet.
I have a question for the both of you about a subject that really is a hot topic right now, and it's actually named after somebody, Dr. Hans Asperger. And we know that, the Asperger syndrome has been lumped into the spectrum of autism. And so there are a lot of children, a lot of young adults, and, more mature adults that are coming to learn that perhaps they have a condition or something that has been labeled Asperger's. And so you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a grandma and a grandpa. And so what do you say to young parents or parents of teenagers that have this, I don't want to say diagnosis, that have this way of being, this propensity, to help them understand that there's not anything abnormal about their child. It's simply a different way of being.
The Asperger children, in my experience, all carry indigo energy and either have very little or no crystal energy. They have high IQs. They're very technologically oriented. They are challenged in being able to understand and relate to other people. Their emotional bodies are not developed. Mm-hmm. It is these people that have given us this 50 to 60 years of electronic revolution that is still going on and exhilarating. So they have made tremendous contributions, but they're, in terms of fitting into mainline society, no. And what they can do, and I would say this for all, basically, those that carry predominantly indigo energy, seek out other people who are like you and form your own community or circle of friends with them. They have the ability to accept you more than most normal people do. Mm-hmm. And you can feel, fulfilled and get your emotional needs met in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, many of them don't really have that emotional connection, though, Carl. So that, but they still have this desire to have friends. So basically, if they can find, like my daughter-in-law call it their tribe, because they think a little bit differently. And for instance, we have a grandson that, is labeled Asperger's. It's not very strong in him, but he is basically super, super smart because they're brilliant. These children, their minds work so quickly, and that they have the difficult time, in school because they know, they can get the answers to math problems, and they can't understand, why do I have to go through the steps to show the teacher I can do this, because I'm getting the answer anyhow. So those are some of their conflicts. But the thing is that if they are fortunate enough to have parents that are willing to work with them, and of course, I know that there are children out there that don't have that either, but the ones that do, and I think, again, the ones listening in, they are willing to work with their children to see what their strengths are and to help them to develop those strengths, and then help them to start forming, and they don't have to have thousands of friends. They can have one friend. The important thing is they've got someone that they can relate to, and that helps them to recognize, there is somebody else out there that's different, mm-hmm. Or is more like me. Mm-hmm. So if I believe it's really important to look at each one of your children as individuals and hone them and allow them to have those experiences that are going to be beneficial to them and help them develop, the things that they are very, very predominant in. Now, as Carl said, with the Indigos, they're not as much into the social scene. Usually some are. It's interesting because some are very much so, but we have quite a few Asperger's people that we know, and like even some it's like our adopted grandson, and many of them have been homeschooled, and many of them are now doing all this schooling, like via computer.
Right.
How they had the schools now. Our grandson is doing that, and he's loving it. He said, I'll never like school. He said, but this is the best that I've experienced.
I love that.
He's able, because he's able to work, and they allow them to work at their pace, basically, and they can work forward, and they can get through school and high school in 2 years instead of 4.
That's right.
And they learn what he's learning specifically. And I'm going to give him as an example because they just finally have put him into an online school. And he's taken initiative. He gets up, my son was saying yesterday, he gets up out of bed and he gets right at the computer and he does, assignments. Sometimes he slacks off, but, all in all, looking ahead. He was in a traditional setting before, and when he was young, he was great in math. He was flunking everything. So, and now that's coming back, and he's seeing himself getting these, 90% or A's and so on now, because they found a way, and it's taken them quite a while. He's 13 now, but it took them a long time to find a setting that was right for him. They tried Montessori, they tried different types of techniques of schooling, and so for the parent it can be a hard thing because they do have to really be invested in helping the child, and some people don't have quite as much time to give to that child. But as much as they can to allow them to experience, but then also you're feeding them with the social things. And again, this year he's blossomed. He's never liked going to a party. All of a sudden he's communicating with people at the parties and so on. So it's a matter of, taking that initiative and doing what you can. And I know not everyone can homeschool. I know not everyone can have that kind of a setup for their children, but do the best you can, with that. And then when they're not in school, maybe you can gear them towards being with groups that they would be attracted to.
That's great advice. And, one subject that I tend to run into or is brought to my attention over and again regarding the Crystal children, speaking of individual needs and what it is that brings out the best and the most brilliant in them, is that particularly for Crystal children, it is so important to have non-violent settings and a peaceful home. Will you talk about that for a moment? A lot of parents are shocked to find out that arguing and cussing and carrying on and loud TV, violent TV, is actually a detriment to their sensitive child.
These Crystal children, their primary trait is their sensitivity. And they are so sensitive that they will often know what you're thinking, what you're going to say or do before you say or do it. They are so sensitive that often as children, they have imaginary playmates. At least that's what we call them. But they are not imaginary because you can ask them, what are they wearing? What are they saying? What are they doing? And they can tell you in detail. Their sensitivity goes beyond the normal 5 senses. They're seeing into what we would call the spirit realm. And you're absolutely right. Just a loud voice can be upsetting to them. And they need the most peaceful and calm environment that can be provided for them. And these kids are extraordinarily creative, artistically, musically, dance, whatever their interest happens to be. from the head. The indigos work from the head. The crystals work from the heart. And in my experience, 95% of the children that have this advanced DNA, they will have both indigo and crystal. And normally, one will be greater than the other. Someone who is 90% crystal and 10% indigo is going to be super, super sensitive, whereas someone who is 90% indigo and 10% crystal, oh boy, give them a computer, give them an electronic, that's their equivalent of heaven on earth. But most have a balance between the two, and which is the ideal, because they can fit in, they can function in the world. IQs range normally between 130 and 140, with a few going up into the 150s and 160s. But they're the next step up in human evolution. And the fact that it's happening so fast, I mean, 10 to 15%, 15 years ago, to 65% today, and this isn't just my analysis. I have other people that work with a large number of children, and we're all coming up with roughly the same percentage. So they are a higher breed of humanity.
And why is it that they tend to be known as people pleasers?
Oh, yes, the crystals, yes, they're definitely, well, because they're healers, they tend to be more lean into that category. They have a lot of empathy for individuals, and they want to embrace, and they want to please us. People pleasers, yes, they want to please, but they also, it's because they have this great sense of love that's flowing from them, and so they want to, like I said, make the environment peaceful. They want to make certain that they're trying to create that themselves. So by being a people pleaser, that's a way of getting the individuals to embrace you as for what you are and love you, because that's all those are the traits that they're trying to bring into the world. So, but that has to come into balance also. So it's a good thing, but they also have to recognize that they also have the masculine energies, because the people pleasing comes more from the effeminate energies. So, but they're very kind-hearted and loving and so on. I did want to mention that with the autistic scale, because there are some that are very, very extreme, and that have a very hard time functioning on the planet. So you can imagine if you're around children like that, they may have outbursts because of noise or whatever, but all in all, they're just so loving and kind, and or some, they're not speaking because they just can't quite fit into the planet yet. But I believe that they are here so that there are individuals that can work with them, like the parents that they have and so on, so that energy can become more predominant on the planet, this gentle, kind energy that they carry. And so the ones that are maybe non-functioning, it seems, they're bringing an energy vibration into the planet that, and by being around parents that can be accepting, of them, and again, having them, showing them ways they can do things and so on and fitting in, it's allowing that higher vibratory frequency of energies to start settling more and more into the earth plane.
It's a fascinating topic. Absolutely it is. When we talk about, the crystal children, one thing that I always see in my mind is their love for animals and nature.
Yes. Their sensitivity goes not only to humans, but they can often see the auras coming off of trees. They can tell you what an animal is feeling. Okay? And they're the ones that are most apt to be able to see the nature spirits, the divas.
It's beautiful. Okay, so I know that there are probably aunties and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads out there wondering, can Carl and Ortrun help us to understand whether or not we or our loved ones, our children, our youth, are any of these things? Are you able to help parents kind of sort this out?
In terms of, yes, we have we're dowsers, okay? And we can dowse to see if a person has crystal indigo energy and how much. We can dowse to see if they have more than 20 active codons in their DNA. So yes, and that can be done over the telephone, or it can be done in person. It's a part of a life script reading. But we can do just that if that's all that they want, too.
And what is the name of your website?
OurSpiritualAscension.com.
Beautiful. OurSpiritualAscension.com, everybody.
But then, as far as helping the parents, we, of course, everyone we work with, we really recommend they take time to go within, whether you call, and I would meditate or mindfulness, whatever terminology you want to use, but to take the responsibility in their home to, first and foremost, for them to sense that divine essence that is within them in that meditative state, see them surrounded and filled with this divine radiant light and love, and then start radiating it to each one of their family members so that essence, that part of them, can also come forth, and really filling the whole entire home with this essence of light, love, peace, and joy. And when people have a harder time, I really recommend even that they see their home wrapped in cellophane, and that within that cellophane wrapper, deep into the ground and up high into the sky, that is a place of love, peace, and joy. Because the more that they can uplift the energy vibrations and the environment these children are, the easier it will be for them. Although, they'll have to learn how to function, once they leave that particular space. But you're teaching them also, fill yourself with that divine radiant light and love.
Thank you for that.
And that you are protected, you're guided, so that they can go, out into the world and feel that sense of presence that's there with them to assist them and help them.
We have 2 questions here.
Okay.
From your listening audience. First question. For the crystal people who are people pleasers, what are ways to find the balance to be productive and loved but not taken advantage of?
Okay, again, what I would suggest is if you have a situation in your home or, with a parent or a sister or so on, the children, you have to teach them. But you yourself, if you are in a somewhat intimate situation where you're doing that, you're being that people pleaser, before you do anything, even if you have some kind of a conflict going on with someone, step back before you even answer the phone when they call. And when you step back, then take a few deep breaths, surround yourself with this divine radiant light and love, and allow that power that is within you to fill that, and then pick up that phone and come from that space of the divine that is within you. And because when you do that, then you are already setting yourself up to do what it is you're meant to do, instead of pleasing, doing what's best for that situation.
Dana, I would suggest that the parent or the guardian ask the child, how much do you love yourself? And to help them grow in self-love and self-respect, they need to have at least as much or more love for themselves as they're sharing with others, or they will be taken advantage of. They need to understand that.
That's a great answer. The other question that we have for you as we're wrapping up our interview is this. What is the advice that Ortrun and Carl have for the adults that are indigo to help the young ones that are coming in, especially during these turbulent times? So those of us that are indigo adults, how do we help the young ones coming in?
not have, and help them to develop that and use it for the common good, not just for their own satisfaction or their own advancement. But if they can share the benefits of their uniqueness, that's why they're here. That's what's going to help move the human race up the scale of consciousness.
What a great answer.
I just want to mention that when we talk about indigo children, and sometimes we're all thrown together. The crystals are in there, and the indigos, the rainbow children, the star children, they're just speaking about the same group of children. And there are some that have no indigo energy and some that have no crystal energy. Very, very few. But the majority have some combination of that. So that majority, you can hone them in directions that they still need to perfect or become better at. So, the ones that are the indigos, they're so strong and in a sense, if I want to do it, I'm doing it. I don't care if anybody else wants to or not. And that's the way they are with, you as a parent, to start directing them in such a way that, and it'll take time and patience. It certainly does. But, it's all worth it in the long run. So it's challenging, but yet it's such a worthwhile thing because, remember, as parents of these children, you were actually given those children, you were lent to them by the divine, and for a reason, because the divine knew that you would be able to guide them and direct them in the way that, they were meant, so that they can also incorporate those aspects that they need a little bit more assistance in. So, but the indigos basically, usually, you give them like, okay, if you do this needs to be done. You can do it now or later, so then there's a consequence. You have the choices, and they have to make the choice of how they want to proceed with that. And if they don't make a choice, well, then you do have to step in and actually carry it through, because you have to still be that particular one, that particular parent or parents that they're not going to let you have them bully you over, because they can easily do that. An indigo child can do that. Mm-hmm. So you need to maintain your stability also in this situation with those children.
Absolutely. Well, we are at the bottom of the hour and at the end of our show this morning, but again, congratulations on the release of the book. For those of you that are tuning in and you really enjoyed today's show, if you would share that with others on social media, that would be fantastic. And those of you looking to purchase a copy of this book, OurSpiritualAscension.com. Shortly, it will be available on Kindle. It will be available on Amazon and, of course, in other distribution outlets. However, at the moment, it is available at OurSpiritualAscension.com, so that you can also take a look at all of the other work that Carl and Ortrun do separately and together as a couple. So thank you, Carl and Ortrun, for being with us and for being such wonderful teachers in this time of ascension.
Thank you for letting us share.
Dana, it's always a pleasure being with you.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day and get out there and shine your lights. Blessings be, everybody.
Blessings be.